Which strategy is better, wholetailing or novations? Let's go ahead and start with the leader, RJ Bates, right now.
Just so I can disagree with Eric Brewer, I'm going to go with wholetailing. Just because I want him to really sell his course right now, just like Steve did in the first question. I mean, wholetailing is hands down better than novation. You would be an absolute moron to ever do a novation agreement. It's the worst strategy ever. There you go, Eric Brewer. I have teed you up. Sell yourself, baby, for the next 45 seconds if you can, Mr. Hulk.
I appreciate that. I mean, effectively, a real novation is a wholetail without having to actually close on the property and do any work. So if you want to make wholetail profits without doing any renovations, then you should learn novations. I think there's a lot of bad information, or not bad, but outdated information from 5-10 years ago, where the historical approach toward novations did include a rehab. The way that I've been able to apply it since 2011 does not include any renovation. Which is the great thing about wholesale, right? We're not married to a wholesale number. We're cleaning it up, putting it on the MLS, and making double what we would have made selling it to a cash buyer. Novations actually allow you to do the exact same thing without physically closing on the property. And there's a bigger pool of that inventory out there than there is even wholesale or wholesale.
Okay. Perfect timing too. 45
Thanks,
seconds.
RJ.
Steve, let's go over to you.
I mean, I've had the opportunity to learn novations directly from Eric. When I asked him where he learned it, he's like, I made it. I was like, no. Seriously, where did you learn it? Because you didn't come up with it. He's like, no, I made this. So for me, wholetailing versus novations. Novations is wholetailing without having to take the property down. So the problem with wholetailing is you actually have to close on it, which means there's more risk and there's more capital at risk. You have to be able to hold the property and make monthly payments. If you're doing hard money, you're just tying up more capital and you're exposed longer. So novations is wholetailing without the risk. It just seems like a no-brainer if that's the comparison.
Okay. And CJ, let's close out with you.
Yeah, I think the commercial segments today, man, just first and foremost have been great. Especially this one. I like this, wholetailing versus novations. As somebody who's done a considerable amount of wholetails, I'm in the process of learning and starting to implement novations myself. I agree 110%. It's the exact same thing as wholetailing, same exact opportunity without the debt, without the risk. So it's definitely better 110%. Guys in the back, and Steve, if you can send me the commercial rate sheet, so I can go over with my team and approve the charge to a commercial, let me know. And novations is where it's at for sure. And shout out to the U fam, because I'm gonna be showing y'all novations in the future. Shout out to Eric Brewer as well.
Nice. All right. I think we have to get the poll restarted, so I do apologize for the chat. But gentlemen, the floor is open. Any last second commercials that we want to throw in there before we end up today?
I think the bottom line is you really should probably be doing both. I mean, as much as I obviously have had success with novations, there's just some deals where it's not going to make sense. One thing that's definitely going to change, I think, is wholesaling, and the margins are going to be compressed from what they were the last 2 years. Make sure you maximize the return on each and every one of those deals when you get them. Right now, there's some wholesalers. RJ was talking about he had houses that were selling in 2 hours that are taking 2 weeks. If you can take that deal down and it requires a little bit of risk, we're in a risky business. But just make sure you understand what the actual ARV is. And instead of wholesaling it, making $6,000, if you can borrow a little bit of money, list it and sell it in 90 days and make $30,000. We work so hard for leads and deals. Figure out a way to borrow some money at a reasonable price and wholetail it, right? Like, you can only do so many transactions. There's only so many deals. Make sure, whether it's novations or wholetail or sub-2 or whatever, maximize the opportunity on the lead. And get as much out of that opportunity as you can.
And I just want to say this because I kind of joked at my answer. I agree with what Eric has said. I think that novation is not always going to be the answer. And I think that's going to be partially dependent upon your seller, if they're willing to do that. And if not, that's where you transition to the wholesale opportunity if the numbers can't work as a wholesale. But Just personally for me, I haven't done very many novations, but if I were to add that to my arsenal, Eric would absolutely be the person that I would go to and find that out. And so I just wanted to give that shout out to him since we utterly decimate him on this show over and over and over again. So I just want to let y'all know
The least you
the
can
reason
do.
why he's on this show.
There was too much agreement here. I'm trying to figure out what kind of. I want to go back to the last point, right? RJ said Wolverine. Like, Wolverine was not in the Marvel universe. He
Yes,
was
he
not.
is.
Yes, he is.
He's an X-Men and he was an Avenger.
He was not an Avenger. In which series was he an Avenger?
I'm not up to speed on all the avenging, but I've never seen Wolverine
Chris,
in
you
an
don't watch
Avengers
cartoons
commercial.
like these guys?
Nah, I
Chris,
haven't,
you
I
don't
haven't
watch
seen
cartoons
it. I
like
haven't-
these other guys?
He's not in the cinema. He's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, that's a rights
I
issue.
will.
Because Steve's off watching NFTs and Avengers and
Whoa,
living
bro.
in the metaverse.
Whoa, hold on. We're not talking
He's in
about
there right
the
now.
Avengers.
That's actually not Steve. That's Meta Steve. Look at the background.
He's in the
Not even a
metaverse right now.
It's his NFT. You can see it's all grainy and digital.
First of all, Steve, you don't base who is an Avenger and who isn't based off the movies, okay? You base it off of the comic books, okay?
We can't all be
Jeez.
comic book nerds. I mean, CJ, we have to educate him on even the freaking movies.
Yeah, listen, I don't know who's on which team, Marvel versus Avengers, and look, I don't know. I'd be Thanos though. That's who I'd be.
Yeah,
The
I
bad
like
when he had all
Thanos.
these
So
things.
I see RJ got the most votes in this one, but I would probably veto him on this one, and I'll go with Thanos, aka Eric Brewer, on this last round.
Agreed.
Well, the voting from the people who watch the program and those votes that count said 41% for RJ Bates on the last question, which would put him at 4 for the day and makes him this week's winner.